Hello my beloveds, my name is Evonne from Embody Your Mother and welcome to the cycle report for the 4th of February 2019. And I come to you from Dja Dja Wurrung country in Central Highlands, Victoria, Australia in the Southern Hemisphere. So 4th of February in the Southern Hemisphere marks the exact point between solstice, summer solstice, and autumn equinox, which is Menopause, traditionally known as Menopause. And so today is astrological Lammas. In the Northern Hemisphere, today is Imbolc. So in the Northern Hemisphere, they'll be planting the seeds of what they want to see grow. And here in the Southern Hemisphere, on this land, we are seeing the first signs of our harvest. So all our seeds that were planted in August, which is our Imbolc, coming to fruition, so coming to fruit. And Lammas was typically the season for bringing in the harvest of the grain. So bread was baked and broken up and shared as appreciation for the grain and for the earth and for each other to bring about this tasty bread in our harvest. Here on this land, our grain has already come in and we're actually in the land time of lots of fires. So we've had lots of heat, it's very dry, and just over the weekend we had some really heavy duty fires just north of us on this country, and it's threatened a lot of communities. So it's a time of letting go, sometimes about loss, as well as a celebration and appreciation of our harvest. And with the fires, I feel like it marks the end of the traditional element of summer. So as we step into autumn and the descent, so fire being the great transformation. So anything that touches fire will never ever be the same again. And it really brings me to think about menopause. So menopause is the equivalent life cycle of Lammas, which is the earth cycle. And it feels like, the burning up of all that hasn't been dealt with, and stepping into a new deep transformation as we go into the descent. So that, like the sweats and things that are normally experienced at menopause, the burning up, the letting go, the transformation, mourning, appreciation, and still being alive and moving into descent. It also reminds me of the descent of the stories of the underworld. So, the stories, mythology stories like Persephone and Inanna, that this is the time when you start going into that underworld, and it's slowly, gradually, but it certainly is into the descent into winter, feels like a bit of an underworld journey because it brings up all that, you're all of a sudden, you're coming back into self. So, it's showing up the things that you need to look at to clear for the next cycle. So this is when it starts to really come in. So, it's really important to be really gentle on yourself during these times. And at the moment, we're also under a dark moon. So dark moon is tomorrow here at 7:05 or thereabouts tomorrow morning. So, and it's really a time of letting go and rest, deep rest. You think about it, the dark moon is equivalent to winter solstice. So if you think back to winter solstice or the winter solstices that come, it's such an inner time, and it's a time that our culture doesn't really support. Our patriarchal culture doesn't support the rest and to come into ourselves and the quiet and the stillness. So planting the seeds for however something ends, however something begins, it shows up in the harvest. So if you come into the next new moon feeling tired and exhausted and not looking after yourself, by the time, the third quarter moon and the descent rocks around next round of cycle, you're probably going to be feeling pretty tired. It's also like your menstrual cycle. If you're running around when you're bleeding and, you're feeling really run down, by the time you come back down after ovulation, you're going to feel pretty tired, more so because the seeds weren't planted for nourishment and care at the beginning during your bleeding time. So which leads me to my personal cycle. I am day 21 and I certainly feel what I've just described. When I was bleeding at the start of this cycle, I was running around, staying up late, not really looking after myself in terms of rest and I am now coming around to the end of my menstrual cycle feeling quite exhausted. So I now know what I need to let go of, which is the rushing around, so I can go into my bleeding time knowing that I need to rest, so I can plant these really beautiful seeds, and which will sustain me for the rest of my next menstrual cycle. So that is that. I just wanted to talk about some of the reflection questions, or red tent questions if you sit in circle, that you may want to explore. Is, what are you appreciating of this harvest, so of this time? What's around you that you appreciate, and what do you need to do under this dark moon to bring deep nourishment to yourself? Feeling lots of rest and good food from this end. Also, just a couple of events that are coming up. Actually tonight I'm running a free online Lammas circle, and that is online. The details will be below. We've still got some time to log on if you are interested. And the School of Shamanic Womancraft 4 Seasons Journey Victoria will be starting in a couple of weeks, in which I'm apprenticing at, and the teacher Nymh, who is an ecologist and wild heart, beautiful woman, is teaching that, and will be taking us through a year-long journey. And also coming up in autumn equinox, I will be taking a group of women from autumn equinox, the spring equinox, from the descent into the ascent, with another online circle. So if any of that interests you, just click on below. And if you're interested and you're loving what I am doing here, please subscribe on my YouTube channel or email me, and to get these updates, because I think they're, well, for me it's a really good exercise to keep me attuned as to what's happening. So much love to you and to me and to you and to me and all of us. And also, quickly, I just want to say a big thank you to all the volunteer firefighters that were fighting in the fires, and all the amazing volunteers around the world who are doing amazing work off their own bat, for the passion, for the love, for, thank you so much from my deepest heart to yours. So much love.